Welcome to Man in America, a voice of reason in a world that has gone truly, truly mad. I'm your host, Seth Holhouse. Thank you so much for being here tonight live. This is going to be a good show. It's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to getting into this. Just want to remind you a few things before we jump in. First off, if you have any questions or comments, I've got a team that's monitoring all the comments coming in. So if you have any questions, just write, as you're watching the show live, write question in all caps and let me know what your question is. And so even if you ask a question right now in the beginning, we'll save it, we'll get to it, because the second half of the show is going to be more of a discussion between you and I. So if you have a comment too, just put it in there. And if there's comments that, that I'll be highlighting as well, that's good as well. So there's a lot that we're going to be covering tonight. And I have to say that leading up to tonight's show, I felt a lot of anxiety and just, I guess you could say, just felt down. I felt the weight of the world just in a very heavy way. And if you know me personally, or even if you know me through the podcast, I'm actually typically a really positive person. I really am. But just there's something really dark about what's happening, and we'll be getting into that tonight. So tonight's show is a handful of topics I want to go over. I want to talk about Netanyahu, whether there's these rumors of him being dead, there's AI stuff. So we'll be talking about that. He came out, he's at a coffee shop. So we're covering Netanyahu, talking about Tucker. Supposedly the CIA is coming after Tucker and framing him for some texts that they intercepted with Iran. So talking about Tucker and, just at the bigger picture of what that means, talking about free speech and censorship. There's some tweets about, that Trump's put out recently talking about this. Some new rules at the FCC level about potential media outlets having their broadcast licenses stripped for reporting the fake news. We'll be hitting on that, getting into some other kind of scary stuff as it relates to AI, and then censorship with my own personal self, right? I put a video out recently about Epstein that has been extremely censored. And so I'm going to talk about that as well. And then, of course, we'll be getting into your comments and questions. And I'll just tell you ahead of time, too, that I'm not really feeling great. It's been a tough week physically, in the past couple of days, especially just under the weather. I've got some kind of bad sores in my mouth and some immune system kind of struggling. And maybe hear my voice is a little different. So I might have to kind of pause at some point and blow my nose, or not pause, but mute. So anyway, just giving you a heads up, but I'll do my best to be here in my normal, happy self, the best that I can. So as I was mentioning, there's just been a heaviness. And I think that you'll see as I get, through the show today, it'll make sense. And it's kind of, there's two ways to looking at it. It's like if you're paying attention and you're looking at all the things that are happening, the war in Iran, the involvement of the U.S., Israel, a lot of the back and forth there, the censorship happening, the AI stuff, Palantir, the use of AI as a war machine, the surveillance state. It's like if you look at all this stuff, it's really, really heavy, honestly. It's scary stuff. And I think the only way you can look at all of this and actually feel really positive and optimistic is if you have this complete faith in Trump. So either you're more of I'm seeing there's a few different characteristics, right? Types of people that have that faith, right? There's like the neocons, the people that are insanely pro-Israel. Trump's doing all the right things. War is a good thing. Like if you're Lindsey Graham or someone like that, you're doing great, right? You're on your yacht sipping margaritas and who knows. Or you're a Q follower, right? Where you think that this entire thing is just part of the plan, save Israel for last. If you're of that perspective, then okay, you're fine. You've got your popcorn and you're looking at all this and you're like, hey, this is perfect. But outside of those two places, if you're looking at this, you're where I'm at, you're looking at this saying, there's some scary stuff going on, like some legitimately frightening things that are going on. And I'm a very patriotic person. I'm very freedom-minded. I've got a lot of just kind of faith, and I have a strong kind of locus of control in my own life. But there are certain times when I look at the bigger situation, and it really concerns me. And that's how I feel right now. I'm genuinely concerned about a lot of things. And so we're going to talk about those things tonight. That's what we're going to do. As much as I just said, I was thinking, I don't even want to do a show tonight. I just want to crawl into a hole. I said, okay, Seth, you got to just do it. You got to just do it. So here I am, and we're going to do our best. So I first want to talk about Netanyahu. There were really the past 3, 4, 5 days or so, there were a lot of narratives going around saying that Netanyahu was killed in action, that he was missing. There were supposed videos of where he was at that had been bombed. And he also simultaneously, he had kind of disappeared, right? He wasn't active on Twitter where he was very active before, which, that's kind of says something, kind of doesn't though. And there's a whole lot more. So I'm not going to go into all the different evidence, but there was actually enough to make a legitimate case of, maybe he was killed, right? These things do happen. I mean, we just killed the leader of Iran, and Iran has been bombing Israel. So it's without being conspiratorial or anti-Semitic, it's not that crazy of a thought to think, okay, hey, maybe a leader got killed, right? And so I'm just going to turn my air down a little bit toasty in here. That's what I get for wearing flannels all the time, isn't it? So anyway, that was one of the main angles I was going to take in today's show, right? Kind of leading up into yesterday, I think, okay, this is worth looking into, right? Then you also had this interview with Scott Bessent, where Scott was sitting down, and all of a sudden, someone comes and says, "Hey, Trump needs you." This is Scott, Bessent, key person in Trump administration, and so he had to kind of go to the Situation Room, and he comes back 2 hours later to this interview, and he was like insanely shaken. Actually, let me see. I'll find the clip real quick. I don't have it pulled up ahead of time, so it'll take me not too long at all to find it. Let me pull this up for you because this was let's see here, Scott Bessent. Let me find this clip for you, because if you haven't seen it, like if you haven't watched the clip, Scott Bessent is a here it is. Okay, he's a very well composed guy. Like a lot of these figureheads, these politicians, like they're very skilled. It's really hard to unsettle them. But watch what happens here, because this is really, really strange. Okay, so I'll pull this up for you. So here it is. Just watch it. So Scott Bessent, it's a 1 minute clip. And if you're listening instead of watching, you'll still be able to make sense of it. You can hear what's going on. So let me go ahead and play this. Okay.
The president wants you. Sorry, the president wants you very well.
Oh, okay. Okay. No problem at all. See you shortly, Mr. Secretary.
You can work that in.
Mr. Secretary, I have to say.
Okay, so that was him getting pulled out, and here is him sitting back down. Now, watch the reaction. Now, I know there's some people have likened to Bush and 9/11. Actually, a Gale guy on Telegram actually made that point. He said, or Gale guy said, don't you think that when Scott Bessent was pulled out of his interview on TV by Trump, that moment was similar to Bush being told about 9/11? So anyway, I'll play this. Watch or listen to Bessent. This is really strange.
It's a first, I'm sure, a last as well, that an interviewee's been pulled away to go to the Situation Room. How was the president? Was he stressed?
No, the president is in great spirits. The Iranian mission is proceeding well ahead of schedule. And I have to tell you, Wolf, that I've a teenager who's considering military service, and I could give this team my highest compliment, from President Trump to the head of the Joint Chiefs to the Secretary of War. I would say that I would trust my child's life in their hands.
I mean, he came back stuttering. That's strange behavior. Now, so before this, so basically Netanyahu, he reemerged, right? So he posted a video of himself at a coffee shop where he was, and I'll pull that up. But the point I want to make there is that I had thought leading into tonight's show, gosh, maybe that's the moment when Bessent was pulled aside and put in the Situation Room, and maybe that was when they discovered that Netanyahu was killed. And maybe that was the thing that really shocked him potentially, or maybe, I mean, obviously whatever he was told in that 2-hour window was something very, very significant. That's the only way to put it. A guy like that does not lose his composure and start stuttering in an interview. Not to mention, it's not like he was just taking answers from the press. He was caught off guard. He could have gone and taken a 20-minute walk and got a coffee or something on his way back in to settle down. So, he could have gone out to the Situation Room and been shocked for an hour, then spent an hour, meditating or praying or whatever to calm himself down. So the fact that he was still that unsettled, like something major happened in that. So anyway, it's worth considering. Now, as I mentioned, Netanyahu was missing. And now this was just, I think today, let's see, was this today? Yeah. Okay. Pardon me. This is March 15th, 10:30 this morning, that Netanyahu posts this in the translated version. It says, "They say I'm what? Watch this." So he was basically responding. I won't play the audio for this. But he was kind of responding to all these internet theories about how he was killed, and that his last press conference that people were saying he had 6 fingers. So here he is, he's holding up his hand and he's saying, "Look, I have 5 fingers." And so he's directly, like, that dates him, right? Obviously, from that perspective, this would have been an older video because he's directly talking about these theories that he was dead. And so I thought, okay, it looks like he's alive, and okay, that is what it is. So now I thought, okay, well, maybe I won't cover that then, right? Because if there's a theory that he's dead and then he comes back and it shows that he's alive, it's not that newsworthy, okay? It happens all the time. But it got kind of strange because then there are all these people digging into this video saying they thought this video was AI. And I'm not going to show you all the information about that, but there were actually a lot of things that honestly seemed very legitimate from the perspective of this being some sort of deep fake. There were some things about his hand going into his pocket that were strange. The coffee, like the actual coffee in his coffee cup, where it looked like it was a full cup. He was holding it and kind of moving it, but the coffee wasn't spilling. And actually at one point the coffee looked like it was above the rim of the cup. And then he took a long drink of the coffee, but the coffee didn't drop down at all, and nor did it disturb the pattern of the kind of latte art on his drink there. And then there's also a screen grab. So in this video of him, at some point, it moves past the register, and people were zooming in, and you can freeze frame it on the actual text of the register. And when they kind of expanded that and made it larger, they're saying that the date was 2024. And then if you look at the people wearing the masks, right? So you can see his security details wearing masks. People were saying, oh, this was actually from the COVID era, which say it was early 2024, for instance. I'm not sure where Israel was at that time. Maybe they were still wearing masks. I don't know. So anyway, there was a lot of information about this that still came out and made me thinking, it's like, okay, even this looks strange. Some people actually were running this video through an AI detector, and the AI detector was saying it was like a 90% chance of being a deep fake. And the thing is that that's absolutely possible, right? As much as, and it's the scary part of this is that that's just the reality of it, is that this stuff can be faked. And so that gets in. There's the post here I want to highlight talking about here's a few different things they're talking about. There's the date you see that says 2024. There's a few aspects of that. But the thing is that it's the details I don't want to focus on. I want to look at the bigger picture, right? And so this post right here from this account, TFTC, makes a very, very valid point. And this account says, Netanyahu posted a proof of life video. So people, okay, this is the proof of life video was the press conference I talked about, right? That was the one that everyone was saying he had 6 fingers, and it was, which it could have been a weird kind of, sometimes when you freeze a frame, strange things happen, and it kind of looked like maybe there was 6 fingers, but it could have just been how the video was frozen, right? So anyway, so this guy says, Netanyahu posted a proof of life video. People said it was AI because he had 6 fingers. He posted another one ordering coffee and showing 5 fingers. People say that was AI too because the coffee didn't spill. And there was a lot of other reasons too, but that's not the point. Here's the point, what he says. He says, we've crossed a line we can't uncross. The same AI tools that can generate a convincing fake of anyone on Earth have made it impossible to prove anything is real. The technology that was supposed to give us more information has made all information less trustworthy. This isn't about Netanyahu. Every world leader, every CEO, every public figure now lives in a world where that's AI, quote, that's AI, is an unfalsifiable response to any evidence. He says that proof of life now requires multiple videos, press witnesses, cafe, Instagram posts, and people still don't believe it. He says that we've built tools so powerful that seeing is no longer believing. Nobody has figured out what replaces it. This is really, really serious, because we live in an era where I could literally be AI. Now, maybe the AI would have a hard time at this state replicating certain aspects of me, like my cold, for instance, or whatever. But like that's how good this stuff is. And this is just this is just like public facing AI. We're not talking about the AI that the government has access to, the military industrial complex has access to. So the question of what is real anymore is actually very legitimate. Now, even further, I'm not AI, I promise you. This is my real self, okay? But going further, so we're seeing a lot of footage come out from this war. We're obviously, right? It's all over online. You're seeing the missiles, and kind of explosions and fires in Tehran. We're seeing the same things happening in different parts of Israel that, as Iran is hitting back to Israel. So we're seeing a lot of footage, seeing footage of, warships on fire, etc. So Trump just came out in this, I'm not going to read this long tweet of his, but what he said though. So Trump accuses Iran of using AI-generated disinformation to fake military successes, claiming phony kamikaze boats downed U.S. refueling planes and burning USS Abraham Lincoln's carrier images are fabricated to mask their defeats. He calls the related media reports fake news and suggests treason charges for outlets spreading them, while praising FCC Chairman Brendan Carr for reviewing licenses of corrupt networks. So this is really interesting, because let's just imagine that Trump, so let's just say you're watching this and say that you're someone that really trusts Trump. You might look at this and say, hey, okay, yeah, that's good. We should be going after anybody that's pushing fake news, et cetera. And yeah, okay, if they're spreading, fake AI videos, then, then the news media is picking them up, and it's creating more fake news based upon AI images and videos. We should stop that. But let's imagine that either A, you think that Trump is a bad guy. Okay, there's a lot of information that could lead you to believe that. Or let's just imagine Trump was somebody else. Let's just imagine it was Kamala Harris in office, hypothetically. Then you'd be saying the opposite, because you'd be asking a question. You'd be saying, well, hold on. So who is it that gets to be the judge of what's real and what's not? Because if a president can say, hey, this footage from the war is AI, that's fake. And so we're going to strip your broadcast license and maybe even go after you for treason for publishing that, then who is the arbiter of truth? Because what if that same government is using AI to create a different picture of the war for the people that are watching that information, right? This is a scary thing, right? As I've watched anything that Trump has done, really kind of, I try to look at this, look through this lens that, like, whatever he's done, especially if I'm looking at Palantir and a lot of the big tech things, I'm thinking, okay, what if someone else did this, right? So let's just, I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here. Let's just say if I wasn't someone, if I didn't trust Trump, or say I trusted him, but I'd still ask myself, okay, what if someone I didn't trust was doing the same thing? It's scary territory here, because this opens up a realm of control and social control that is extremely frightening, because now you can say anything is AI or not AI. You can create, so a government could create using, again, the DOD has access, as we know, to insanely powerful AI systems. It's a big part of Trump's whole campaign, his whole presidency, right? This whole term of his is building massive AI data centers, collaborating closely with companies like Oracle, Palantir, Meta, OpenAI, Anthropic, Claude, etc. And so we have to be asking ourselves that what happens if the shoe's on the other foot, because I've really for a very long time been concerned about propaganda, and this is a whole new level of potential. Now, here's what's interesting. So this is the tweet from Brendan Carr, right? This guy, Brendan Carr, is the chairman of the FCC. So he's in charge of, right, the Federal Communications Commission, which has a lot of control over communication in our country. So, and Brendan Carr, this is a post that he put out saying that broadcasters that are running hoaxes and news distortions, also known as the fake news, have a chance now to correct their course before their license renewals come up. The law is clear. Broadcasters must operate in the public interest, and they will lose their licenses if they do not. So, and this is in response to a different tweet that Trump had put out, or Truth Social post, whatever you kind of refer to those as. Anyway, so my ear, there we go. I adjust my ear again. So he puts this tweet out basically saying that if there are broadcast, agencies, right, broadcasters, and we're talking, for someone to need to have a broadcasting license with the FCC, we're talking, these are major broadcasting networks, right, ABC, et cetera. So if they're saying that they're going to strip the broadcast licenses of these media companies, if they're saying, look, hey, you're spreading fake news because they're spreading AI, well, from one perspective, you might say, hey, great, this is a way of taking down the fake news media. As we know, there's almost all the major, actually not almost, all the major media, as far as I know, are broadcasting fake news a lot of times, whether it's Fox News or Newsmax or CNN, New York Times, right? It's like they're all pushing stuff. They're all part of the overall narrative network. So if they're saying they're going to strip these licenses, what if, hypothetically, what if a news agency shares real footage that's coming out, but that real footage doesn't, in fact, benefit whoever's sitting in the White House, whether it's Trump or Gavin Newsom or Bernie Sanders or J.D. Vance, doesn't matter. So what if a news organization publishes publishes a real story that doesn't fit the narrative that the administration wants? What if they then say, hey, that's actually fake news, that's AI? I mean, how do you really prove it, right? It's not that easy. That can actually make it very easy to censor, stripping the broadcast licenses. Now, here's what's interesting. Right at the very beginning, I said that there's really kind of only two groups I can think of that would look at this and think, hey, this is really great. This is amazing. This is good, right? Let's take a look at a few of the responses. So here, I want to highlight these two responses. Okay, this is TruthStream Media, who I've found to be actually very on point. I agree with the vast majority of what they put out there. And they put something out saying, have you been body snatched by brain-eating aliens? And they're actually talking to Brendan Carr, responding to him, because here are two different tweets from Brendan Carr talking about saying, I am for free speech. I am for more free speech. I am for diversity of news or views. I'm for everyday Americans having the freedom to express their views in robust and wide open ways, right? So this guy was very, very pro free speech, but now they're basically saying, look, if you're publishing quote unquote fake news, we're going to strip your broadcast license. Now, TruthStream Media is obviously showing that they're, hey, concerned about this. But here you have someone else, right? Santa Surfing. So Santa Surfing, maybe you're familiar with Santa Surfing, big, Q follower, trust the plan. Trump's doing exactly what's going to free us from the grips of the deep state. Whether you believe that or not, it doesn't matter, right? To me. Okay. I'm making a point here. So the response from Santa Surfing is, oof, this is big coming from you. Let's do this. So here you can see that there are two very different perspectives. TruthStream Media, which I happen to be much more aligned with TruthStream Media in this conversation, they're saying, hey, this is kind of concerning, right? Because this is not free speech, right? I don't want free speech only for conservative news outlets. That's not okay? I don't want that. I want free speech for everybody. I want to be the one that decides, is this fake news or is this real news? Okay. Now, I do think that some of these companies that have, again, deliberately, some of these news media, like during the COVID era, et cetera, if they're deliberately pushing things that they know are fake and it's part of something, okay, I want to see justice for that. But that's tricky, though. It really is. So anyway, just kind of pointing out just the dialectics here. It's just worth looking at. Now, on to Tucker, because this is a continuation of this. So Tucker has come out, if you've been following Tucker, which I'm guessing you have been, it's hard not to be seeing what he's doing, at least whether you love him or hate him, you're seeing him because he's controversial in a lot of his perspectives. So he's now kind of come out here and saying that he's discovered that the CIA has been reading his texts in order to frame him for a crime. Now, basically, I'm not going to get into his story too heavily here, but basically that there is, but he's kind of concerned that they're going to come after him and kind of frame, because he has been, actually very anti the Iran war. He's been very anti-Israel in a lot of his perspectives and the control that Israel has. And so, he's coming out and saying he's actually concerned that the CIA has been reading his text and following him. They think that they're framing him for maybe supporting Iran, kind of aiding an enemy. Okay, which is, I guess, yeah, it's true. Like, look, if Tucker is a secret kind of Muslim Brotherhood asset and he's aiding the enemy and he wants to see the collapse of America, then okay, great. Charge the guy for treason. That's bad. But what if he's not? And what if they're just coming after him because he's not supporting the current regime narrative? I mean, we saw what happened to Charlie Kirk, which I don't believe the official story. I don't believe there's a lone gunman. It's like JFK 2.0. I don't believe it, right? Charlie was someone that was very opposed to war with Iran. Well, he's not here to stop that. Draw whatever conclusions you want. It's a big deal, right? And then so Laura Loomer, who is obviously very pro-Israel and very anti-Tucker, she's saying to him, do you understand what the punishment for treason is? I mean, as far as I know, she's referring to the death penalty, right? The punishment, she wouldn't be saying this if the punishment for treason is, 10 years in jail. No, this is serious, right? So this is no longer just like a simple matter. We're now getting into people talking about treason and the punishment for treason. And she has a different post that's saying, so just so you're aware, if you suspect someone in the U.S. is working on behalf of Iran or any other adversary during a time of war, you can and should report them to the FBI and DOJ. It's the America First thing to do. We need to bring back McCarthyism and start rooting out our traitors. And again, it's so tricky because, yes, look, if someone is legitimately, say, a foreign asset, or say they're a communist and say they're working on behalf of the CCP and they've infiltrated and they're subverting America, then yes, okay, that's not good. And I want traitors being brought to justice. But what if someone is called a traitor because they don't support the narrative of the current ruling party? That's also really tricky. And if you layer on all the AI stuff with this, we're crossing over into some very, very dangerous territory here. And again, a lot of this is tied into AI. Now, not Tucker specifically, but we're seeing that AI plays a critical role in this. Now, continuing with the overall kind of narrative of the concern of AI and this kind of digital infrastructure, which I think that's part of the reason why I felt so heavy today, is because it's just kind of hitting me, like how much control they have, like how insanely detailed their monitoring is and everything. I'll be getting into that. I'll be getting into a little presentation shortly here about Palantir's kill chain, which is frightening stuff. But I want us to take a step back to something a little bit lighter. Do you remember when, so I'm not going to play this with the audio. Let's go scroll through here. But do you remember, okay, this was back when, I forget, it was a couple of years ago. There's this game called Pokemon Go. Oh, sorry, I have to pull that for you. Anyway, so there is this game called Pokemon Go. And basically what it was is that you developed these apps, and it was a, what is the term for it? I forget the exact term for it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Basically, it was a way that you could use your camera, your phone, and you could look at a scene, like you could be looking through your phone at like a real image, or you'd be kind of recording something around you, and they could have these Pokemon characters appear. And so what people were doing is they were running all over the place capturing these Pokemon. So they had these phones with their app, and they're basically taking their phone all over the place and scanning, and they're trying to capture these Pokemons. And so on their screen, they might be filming or looking through their camera and seeing it, hey, it's a street in New York City, but then they might also see Pokemon, right? That kind of pop out, just like what's showing you in this video here. So here's what's crazy.
Centimeters.
Oh, sorry about that. So here's what's crazy about this. This just came out. That actually what was happening was something insane. So I'm going to read this post really quickly here. It says, this is wild. 143 million people thought they were catching Pokemon. They were actually building one of the largest real-world visual data sets in AI history. This is crazy. It's like they give us these free things, right? Whether it's Facebook or Pokemon Go. And it's like, oh, wow, what a fun game. I can walk, if you're a Pokemon person, not me personally, but maybe you are. It's like, wow, there's this cool app where I can, kind of look through my phone camera and see Pokemon in real life and record everything, whether it's in my own backyard or in New York City or wherever. It wasn't free. There was a cost. So what this guy's saying here, Mark, is that they were actually building one of the largest real-world visual data sets in AI history. It says that Niantic, which is, I think, the firm behind this, just disclosed that photos and AR scans collected through Pokemon Go have produced a data set of over 30 billion real-world images. The company is now using that data to power visual navigation AI for delivery robots. So it says players didn't just walk around with their phones. They scanned landmarks, storefronts, parks, and sidewalks from every angle at every time of day in lighting and weather conditions that staged photography would never capture. They documented the physical world at a scale no mapping company with a fleet of vehicles could have replicated on the same timeline or budget. Niantic collected this systematically, data point by data point, across 8 years, while users thought the only thing at stake was catching a rare Charizard. The most valuable AI training data sets in the world aren't being assembled in data centers. They're being built by people who have no idea they're building them. I covered recently the Ring cameras in Amazon and how we discovered that there's 30 million Ring cameras across America, and how these Ring cameras are actually building a massive surveillance system in America. not just America, but I'm talking about America specifically here. But so all these people, they think, oh, great, these Ring cameras for my doorbell. I can put on my doorbell. I can put a security camera at the front of my house, whatever. But what we realized is that all these cameras are being used to build a massive surveillance infrastructure, basically for free. Like, we're paying for it. So that's what happened with this Pokemon Go game. Is that it's brilliant, right? Like, if you're thinking, I wonder how we can capture images of like every single place in America practically. How can we do that? Oh, hey, let's give them this video game on their phone where these people run around and record everything with their phone, even things that you would never take a picture of, like a sidewalk or the side of some random building. That's it. So they use this as a massive data harvesting operation. It was not about a video game. It was about the data. Here's what's interesting. One of the replies to that, this person right here, one of the replies to that post says this: I worked as a junior developer for a Niantic contractor in 2019, and we were literally told to ignore the game bugs and focus on the spatial mesh accuracy. We weren't making a game. We were building a one-to-one digital twin of the planet for military-grade surveillance. This isn't just for delivery robots. They have your front door mapped from 50 different angles. Wake up. This is someone that was working there. Working as a contractor for a company, right? That was helping with this. Where they were told, ignore the bugs in the game. People don't care if their Pokemon doesn't work. Doesn't matter. Focus on the spatial mesh accuracy. So he saw it there. This person saw it. So this is scary stuff, right? This is really scary stuff. If you put it all together and you see what's being built, very frightening. But then if you get into what it really means, okay, this is a post from Jason Bassler. Shout out to Jason over on X, who follows me, which is cool. Actually, I followed him back. Thank you, Jason. So I'm going to play this video for you. Okay, this is, it's a minute 52. And if you're on podcast or if you're listening to this instead of watching it, maybe you want to go watch this or go find this clip on Twitter yourself, because you have to see it to kind of understand what's really happening here. So this is the DoD, the Department of Defense Chief AI Officer, showcasing Palantir's Maven platform, built to surveil and enable precision attacks on targets. Jason added a quote here from Nikola Tesla, who says, "You may live to see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension." So I'm going to play this for you. I'm going to full screen this for you because I think that you're going to see it. It's just under 2 minutes. This is the technology in action. Okay, this is the system. This is Palantir. This is the system that is being used to fight the war we're currently in, but B, that is basically the backbone of our government. Palantir's systems are like the operating system for our own government. And Trump, in a lot of ways, opened this door. I mean, they already had, Palantir already had contracts with the government, but Trump really, really, really accelerated this. I mean, look at, Vice President J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel's protege. Okay, so they're heavily, heavily involved in our government. So watch this and just think to yourself, again, like I mentioned before, these things are great if you think that they're in the hands of the people that are on your side. But what if a government has this potential and they want to use it on their own people? Okay? Think about it. Whether it's Trump or the person who follows, doesn't matter. It's a principle. It's a principle because throughout history, we have seen over and over and over again that when governments become powerful enough, they can and oftentimes do turn on the people they govern. Whether you're talking about Khmer Rouge, Cambodia, communist China, organ harvesting that's going on there, Mao's revolutions, any of this kind of stuff. governments have shown us again and again, at some point when they have the ability to, they oftentimes turn on the people they govern. Okay? So just right now, you're looking at this thinking, hey, say you're cheering it, saying, yes, we're using this technology to kill the terrorists in Iran. Well, what if that same government says that you're the terrorist? I'll play this full screen for you again. It's a minute 52.
This is Maven Smart System, Palantir's software as a service product, entire department. As you can see, it's not just one data feed, it's multiple. And instead of having 8 or 9 systems for those decision makers to look at every single day in order for them to make decisions, you then fuse it into a single visualization tool. The single visualization tool allows you to select, deselect different types of data, look at different approaches to data, but more importantly, action from the same system that you're trying to develop your workflows around. Once you have a detection that you want to actually move into a targeting workflow, for example, this is what we do. Left click, right click, left click, magically, it becomes a detection. That detection then gets moved into a workflow. This is standard digitized workflow, but I want to walk you through it quickly. You have different types of targets that are identified on the left there. Every single column produces a different type of decision-making process. Once you have that decision and you're trying to actually action that process, we now move into COA generation, course of action generation, where we are automatically, via a number of factors, trying to identify what the best asset to prosecute a target looks like. Once we've got the different approaches and we select one, we then can move directly into how do we action that target. So we've gone from identifying the target to now coming up with a course of action to now actioning that target, all from one system. This is revolutionary. We were having this done in about 8 or 9 systems where humans were literally moving detections left and right in order to get to our desired end state, in this case, actually closing a kill chain.
So there you go, that last part there, right? Closing the kill chain. And so you can see, right, that is, like, you look at that software, you look at what it does. You know, I'll pull up again, just kind of scroll through it. Make sure the audio is not going to shock us, but you look through this, okay? Whether they're following these assets, you can see, right? Like, this is what they've got. So, yeah, if you're taking out terrorists across the world, this is a good technology to have. Great. But again, what if those terrorists are here in our country? Frightening stuff. There's a quote from one of my favorite books I want to bring attention to. It's from Frank Herbert. It's from Dune, one of my all-time favorite fantasy novels, Dune, the whole series. Read them when I was much younger. Okay, so Frank Herbert said, once men turned their thinking over to machines in the hope that this would set them free, but that only permitted other men with machines to enslave them. I'll read it again. Once men turned their thinking over to machines in the hope that it would set them free, but that only permitted other men with the machines to enslave them. This is what is concerning to me. So, anyway, worth thinking about, okay? It is just worth thinking about. The other thing, when you're looking at what's happening with this war, and I'm always asking myself, right? Myself. I'm always asking myself, what is the end goal? Because I do believe that we live in a world where there is a very high level orchestration behind events. I'm convinced that a lot of what we're seeing is being orchestrated. Even this war, you know, even the fights, you know, the Candace versus this person and Erica Kirk and, you know, Tucker versus, there's all this drama. And I often ask myself, like, how much of this is actually real? or how much of it is actually something that's just to keep us distracted and just to keep us focusing in the wrong areas. I'm not throwing Candace under the bus. Actually, I think she's done some really good reporting. But the point is how much of it is actually real? What's the end goal? And actually, funny enough, there's something that Matt Kim, journalist, great guy, does really good work. So he was recently in an event. I'm not sure how recent this was, but he was recently, I think, on a podcast talking about this, and where he was talking to Tucker. Just watch this quick exchange, 18 seconds.
What is he telling you? Like he is projecting into you some sort of like.
So the host is asking Matt Kim, based on this picture of Tucker, he's saying, hey, what's Tucker telling you, man? Like, this is pretty intense. Okay, just give you a little context.
Mind control here.
Well, he said the most interesting thing. He said, the closer you get, the more you learn, the more I realize it's all fake.
What is he?
So, again, he said, the closer you get, the more you learn, the more I realize it's all fake. So, am I looking at this thinking that the war is fake? People dying is fake? No, I think those things are real. But is there a much bigger thing that's happening? Is there a much bigger orchestration? And the more I interview people that I think have seen the inside this system, the more I think that it is. It's all just a script. It's all just a play. Even the war. Is the war to bring about some sort of, third temple apocalypse? Is it about bringing forth a new kind of level of control? And we say every war, we're left with more control over us, right? Patriot Act, at the list, you fall back in history, every war leads to more surveillance, less freedom. What's also interesting, going along with this, is that now, because of the Strait of Hormuz, there's a lot of countries that are having kind of travel bans, right? Hey, don't drive your car. We're running out of oil, running out of fuel. Actually, Australia. So the Australian energy minister has come out and said, we only have 18 days of gasoline, 16 days of diesel, and 14 days of aviation fuel. Yes, I like this. Someone said, Australia, 19 days, Mad Max. Yeah, right? Australia, I think they might have actually filmed a lot of Mad Max in Australia, if I'm not mistaken. But here's another thing, okay? Thailand orders work from home for state agencies to save fuel. They say the cabinet urges government officials to suspend non-essential overseas travel during the period, but they say that the Thai government will require most government agencies to adopt full work from home arrangements starting immediately as a part of its emergency measures to curb energy demand. So, is that part of the plan? Is that part of the agenda? It's like, okay, 2030 is coming. We gotta get these people in line. 2030 is coming. Maybe we can create a crippling of the energy supply, so then we can tell people that they can't drive, or they have to use battery cars that they can be surveilled and controlled remotely. That would be good, right? Yeah, it's a great way. 15-minute cities are great. So is that part of it? Like, is that part of the real purpose of this war? Is to cripple oil? I don't know. I don't know. But it's concerning. It is concerning. So anyway, we're almost to the question answer part, but I want to say something here. So I recently put out a song. It's actually not really a song. Actually, it wasn't a song. It was more of like a spoken word thing. I'll play it for you. It's 3 minutes long, called "The Dark Night of the Soul." And as much as everyone says, "Oh yeah, gosh, Twitter, yeah, no censorship on Twitter," maybe for people that are part of the club, but it's crazy how much this song has been, actually, sorry, not a song, this video, it's a video. It's crazy how much it's been censored. So I'm just going to show you a few examples of that. So this is the song, sorry, I keep calling it a song because internally we're calling it a song, but it's actually a video. So this is it. It's 3.5 minutes long. This video has been shared by a lot of people on Twitter and a lot of very large accounts. It's being throttled so insanely badly. It's terrible. So here, this is John Rich. So John Rich, right? He's got 1.5 million followers. Actually, he I think he watches the show. Maybe, we'll see. Anyway, he follows me, which is kind of cool. But anyway, 1.5 million followers. He shares this. Okay, it gets 30,000 views. Look at that, right? 30,000 views. He's got 1.5 million followers, and he shares this saying, if you haven't seen the video Man in America made, stop what you're doing and watch this. Absolutely spot on. If you agree, give this a repost. Everyone should see this. That post of his got 30,000 views. He's got 1.5 million followers. Why was his post limited so much? General Flynn, same thing, okay? He's got 2.2 million followers. He shares it. Guess how many views that got? 37,000. Okay? Now that's strange, right? Isn't it right? So John Rich got 32,000 views. General Flynn, 37,000 views. The guy has 2.2 million followers. 37,000 views. Okay? Kim.com, another huge account on X. He's got 1.7 million followers. He shares it again. 98,000 views. So this is being throttled so insanely bad that for people that say, hey, yeah, there's no more censorship, I'm sorry, there's a club, right? I'll play the video for you in a second here, but what I can tell you is that, and I'm a professional podcaster. I know a lot of the big podcasts. I just, through the network, you get to meet people, right? I knew Charlie Kirk. I know, I've met Alex Jones. It's just part of the, when you reach a certain level in your kind of show's success, a lot of doors open up. But what I can tell you is that there is a club that, I'm not saying it's like some sort of secret Skull and Bones type club, but there's a kind of metaphoric club that if you're not in it, you have such a hard time. And the thing is that I'm not in that club. I'm just a guy that made a video, The Plot to Steal America, that went viral, and I started a podcast, right? That's it. And I've grown because I think it's been a decent show that people enjoyed watching, but it's so hard, actually. It's so hard. Anyway, so I'll play the video for you really quick, because if you haven't seen it, you should see it, because I think it's very, very relevant to everything that's happening right now. It's about Epstein. If you've seen it already, well, you can see it again. Okay, I'll play it for you now, and then we're going to get into the Q&A section of this, okay? So let me full screen it for you so you get the full experience. Again, it is 3.5 minutes long. Sorry, it's not a song, it's a video. It's a spoken word video. I keep reminding myself that. Okay, let's go ahead and go. Let's hit this. What happens when everything you know, everything you trust, and everyone you believe in is a lie? And there you are, staring at a screen, sick to your stomach for the things you've seen, the things they've done. And just like that, the world you thought you knew is gone. Because it's not just that they lied, it's that we believed them. We defended them. We got into fights with people we loved for what? For them. And now, as you're staring at the names on that list, at the things they did, and something inside you just breaks. How did I not see it? And when you sit with that question long enough, you start to see it was there all along. It was always hiding in plain sight in every movie and every song. They said the fight was left and right, black and white, you and I. They told us what's wrong and right, while they were trafficking on islands, trading children like diamonds. No, not like diamonds, like cattle, like meat to be sliced and diced with forks and knives. These were innocent lives. And here's the question we should all be asking. Why now? Think about it. Why are they showing us their cards? They could have made it all just disappear like every time before. They controlled what we saw from the day we were born. And now that masks are off, what the hell is going on? And look, there's part of you still waiting, hoping someone's gonna save us. See the ones in those high places? They were on the island, face it. And they don't care if you know it, because they're coming for our babies, and they're doing it in the open while they're laughing in our faces. Do you see it now? Do you see where we are? It's the dark night of the soul. Yeah, we woke up in hell. There's a fork in the road. We either grovel at their feet or we all rise up above this. Once you know the spell is broken, there's no going back to sleep. Gotta face it, eyes wide open. Just turn off the bread and circus. Please, please don't keep on scrolling, cause there really isn't much time left. Mark my words. The system's collapsing under the weight of its own evil. And the future belongs to God, not the devil. And you want to know a secret? You know what makes them the most frightened? It's all of us united. So as much as I probably shouldn't be smiling after that, it was so good. I'm so glad we did that. And if you saw it and shared it, thank you. Given how much is being censored, I encourage you to keep sharing it if you can. It's on all my different profiles. So wherever you're following me, whether it's on YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook, etc., help share it, right? That's just help sharing it, because I think it's an important video to get out there. And so anyway, there's a lot of comments that have come in, a lot of comments. So that's exciting. So I'm looking forward to this part. And, yeah. So anyway, yeah, just share that video. Now, one final thing before I jump into the comments. So this week on Thursday, we're finally launching the ARC community. I've been talking about it for a while. I was initially, it was going to be, well, actually much longer ago. It was going to be on Tuesday, but this Thursday, we're officially launching the ARC community. And given a lot of what I discovered today, like the potential kind of lockdowns tied to fuel, whether that happens or not, I don't know. Just all the craziness that's going on. I think there's never been a more important time to be prepared. And not just like stocking up on food and everything, but really building your community. And that's the purpose of the ARC community. Launching on Thursday. It's it's a private community. It's an online community that's safe and secure, where you can meet people like me that lives 10 miles away from you. You can meet people that share your same views, that share a sense of just purpose and want to be more prepared, and because we can do it together. And that's the thing. It's the one thing that people oftentimes overlook in preparedness is actually the importance of having a community. And that's why we built the ARC community. And so if you want to join the wait list to be, when the announcement comes out, when it's officially open, go to buildthearc.com and you'll get all the details as soon as it's going to open up. You'll have all the information about it. Right now, I think we're at over 11,000 people on the wait list for this. So I'm not sure, we probably won't let them all in at once, and it's going to be a process, to see who's going to actually kind of join and whatnot, because it's one thing to kind of put your email in, it's another thing to actually join something. But if you want to join the wait list, and so you'll be notified the minute that it opens up, because there are certain things that are going to be more limited at the very beginning, like certain slots, etc. Just go to buildthearc.com and just put your name and your email in there, and we will put you on that list and notify you as soon as it's opened up. I'm so excited for this. We've already got like a small team that's already in there, about 30 people that we started off with, and it's amazing seeing what's happening with it. So anyway, I just want to talk to you about that quickly, which is over on, it's buildthearc.com. These links are all in the description for the show. So let's go ahead and I'm going to jump into comments now. Okay, this is the relaxing part. No longer me trying to just drive the whole narrative, so I can go back and forth. So let's go and pull up my comments so I can see them better. Okay, so this is from Shire08 on Rumble, who said, Seth, Rambo and Friends and News Treason 17 played your Dark Night of the Soul on their show Saturday night and was fire. That's awesome. That makes me really, really, really happy to read that. Another comment, this is from Rumble, okay, who said, this is from Builder Babe, says, Seth, I was flagged on X for reposting your video. They tried to take it down. I appealed. I reposted. They conceded. Thank you for that. But that's exactly it. Like, that's the censorship that's happening. So Builder Babe, thank you very, very much. Salty Debbie on Rumble, who says, Seth, this video / song is fantastic. Thank you for that comment. Honestly, that's wonderful. Another comment. This is from Philosophicity on YouTube, who says, even as a Muslim, I'm going to say amen. That's great. That's just in response for, seeing the video. Well, thank you. Thank you. See another comment. This is from Nana Diana on YouTube. I love the Dark Night of the Soul. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, this is over on YouTube. Kark8468 says, excellent content in this spoken word video. Thank you. Thank you. And then also another YouTube comment, which is from Aisha3022 on YouTube, saying that your music and words are so well spoken and well timed. At 61 years old, an adult lifetime of disappointment, all we can say is that we live to see the day. Yes. Yep, I agree. And this is a comment over this is from MAGA BLVCK9 on Rumble, says, our club is bigger. We just don't realize we're in it. That's very true. Yep, that is very, very true. Very true. Okay, so get into some questions and we can keep talking. So DJ Beastie on Rumble, who says, how does your beard look so good? That's God. I don't know. I aside from combing it with a boar brush, I don't know. It is what it is. It's getting a lot of white in there. You know, I'm only I'm not even 40. I turned 40 in June. I'm 39 years old. I said that on an interview recently. I kind of gave my age away, and I saw someone's comment was like, holy cow, I thought I was 55. Yeah, I'm 40 on June 18th. That's my birthday, is June 18th. I'll be 40. And maybe I've just led a stressful life, perhaps. I don't know. But yeah, I got a lot of white in my beard and in my hair. Happened early for me, but to be honest, I like it. I do. You will never see me dyeing my hair or my beard. Not that kind of guy. Okay, so continuing. Let's see. Okay. Is actually a few different questions about kind of healing and whatnot, because I'm not feeling too great. This is from Lily Creek Have over on Rumble. Have you looked into the healing properties of wild oregano oil? Yes. I know oregano oil is a powerful antibiotic, if I'm not mistaken, and I think I've taken some. I've taken a bunch of stuff. I did a couple days ago. I wasn't feeling as well. I did a CDS bath, which I'm on YouTube, so I gotta be careful with the medical stuff here. CDS bath, CDS drink water. Really good. I use Nessa's hemp. Great product, Nessa's hemp. I use them. The powerful CBD. Another mixture with some different oils in it. I think oregano oil was in there as well. Kind of hitting with a bunch of good stuff. Elderberry. So yes, I appreciate that actually. Thank you. I see people kind of sharing their concern for how I'm feeling. I appreciate that. I really do. Okay, this is from on Rumble. JHEDH16. So I'm very excited for the art community. When will it be opening? Thank you so much for organizing it. This Thursday. Okay, continuing. And I apologize, I can't get to every single question, so I'm just going to try to get to as many as I can. This is from Sue Ellen Bennett over on YouTube. It says, hello, dear Seth. It sounds like you have some congestion. please take some vitamin C, maybe D3 with zinc. I've been hitting it with a lot of good stuff. But yeah, thank you. I think I'll be back up pretty good tomorrow. So thank you for that. This is from Jock117 on Rumble, who says, question, rumor has it, even Trump has said it, that Khamenei's son is dead. Yeah, I mean, it's like there's a lot of rumors about politicians being dead. So maybe his son is dead. Yeah. So maybe so. Here's a comment. This is from King Edward Titus on YouTube, who says, I'm a longtime subscriber. God wants to use you as an instrument of peace. Also, amplify your water, vitamin C and D, get good sleep, and take an oil of oregano soft gel. God bless you, brother. Trust the Holy Spirit to guide you. Thank you. So, and I really appreciate that comment. Another kind of push for oregano. Very good. I've been doing some silver too. I've been taking some silver, and I've been doing some red light as well, which is also really good. And I agree with some good sleep. I slept quite well last night, which is good. Okay, this is from Lily Creek on Rumble. Do you think Epstein was also in charge of creating body doubles for world leaders and politicians? They're saying, I do. I'm not sure if Epstein was in charge of that, but he was definitely involved in some strange stuff, cloning and kind of DNA type stuff. So now there's also, body doubles that just wear masks. So that, could have been something, but I mean, I'm not sure if he's in charge of it, but he's probably involved in it. I do personally think that there's cloning operations that are happening, probably some, deep underground military bases and stuff. So, it's, highly likely. I'm going to do a quick nose blow real quick. I'm going to, 1 second. Okay, and hopefully my mute button worked for that. If it didn't, sorry. Okay. Okay, here's a question from Jules Patriot on Rumble, who says, how do you know this isn't part of the plan to wake up the masses who are so asleep they believe the dollar is stable? So I'm not sure which part you're talking about specifically. Maybe it's the war as a whole you're referring to. I'm not sure. But I keep seeing this. I've seen the kind of narrative that when you see something happen, something Trump does, especially when it gets into something that Trump does that goes against what your gut would tell you is actually right. When people then they say, oh, he's helping wake up the masses. It's like, oh, he's showing us the enemy. So I don't think there's a lot that's happening. This is my own personal opinion. I don't think there's a whole lot that's happening at the kind of government plus level, higher than that, military industrial complex, etc. That their goal is to wake up the masses who are asleep. Maybe a couple of years ago I would have thought that. I don't think that anymore. So yeah. Oh, the other thing, talking about kind of healing type stuff. I was giving you what I was doing. Nicotine. Nicotine's also been really helpful. Nicotine is a very potent substance, actually, in terms of your health. Just saying. Okay. Here's a good question. This is from Amy's Vob on YouTube. And Amy says, as a parent, how do you teach your children to discern reality? Well, so I've got two little girls that they're 2 and 5, and so my 2-year-old, I'm trying to teach her how to discern reality as a 2-year-old. All right, like, okay, hey Gracie, no, don't do that. Don't eat that. That's chicken poop. Like, that's not good for you. So that's the kind of reality I'm teaching my 2-year-old. But my 5-year-old, I'm just kind of starting with her. I can't necessarily say I'm trying to teach her how to discern reality at this age. I'm trying to, I guess, just tell her the things that my wife as well, just teach her what I know about the world, and teaching her, her name's June, and just, saying, teaching her about heaven and hell and God and the importance of being a good person and those kinds of things, but also teaching her that, There's a lot of bad people in the world that will lie and that will do bad things to people. And as she gets older, I'll just do my best just to impart the things that I know, and just teach her how the system works, the best that I know, and how to discern it. I think most importantly, though, I'm trying to help shape the discernment of the importance of morality. That's part of it. That's a big part of it, actually, is just really, really talking to her a lot about the importance of, just morality and just being a good person, being kind. And hopefully she's looking at the world through that lens as she grows. There's a question from Sakimi on Rumble. Do you think this war is a distraction from the Epstein data? I definitely think the Epstein files tie into the timing of the war. I don't think it's just a distraction from Epstein, though. Because it's too significant, right? The war is too significant in reshaping what's happening around the world. I think that the war is much more about bringing about some sort of global technocracy. The same way that you could say that 9/11 was about the Patriot Act. I think that's the bigger picture. I think it ties into the Epstein files and Epstein data, but I think it's much bigger than that. Because if it was just to kind of distract from the Epstein files, then I could see some sort of scandal or something kind of more that has less of a global impact. But because this war has such significant of an impact, and I can see that there's a lot of ways that this could be used to greatly reduce our freedoms, I think it's much bigger than that. But I definitely think it's tied into it, though. There's a comment from Soul Yeshua on YouTube. It just says, Seth, thank you. And yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're very, very welcome. And I've got a couple other comments, but I think that I'm going to close things up soon, kind of wrap up. Because I'm just, as you can probably tell, I'm a little bit kind of worn out. But yeah, I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank everyone who's here with me right now live, everyone who's supported me. I wouldn't be where I'm at without all of you, honestly. I try to be very grateful to that. I've seen that there's a lot of people that I know or I've kind of witnessed that when they get some fame and success and notoriety, that it changes them. And I'm honestly, I'm trying to be very conscious of not changing who I am. Doesn't matter how big the show gets or how many celebrities I meet or anything like that. I really try. I don't want this to change me. I just I want to be Seth. I'm just Seth. If you knew me, 5 years ago and you knew me now, you'd say, yeah, that's just Seth. That's just who he is. Yeah, I really want to stay humble. I want to just stay myself. And so, yeah, thank you for being here on this journey with me, because I owe everything that I've done with Man in America to each and every one of you that have continued to support the show and continue to watch the show and have supported the advertisers of the show, whether it's Noble Gold, great company, goldwithseth.com, great company. Just worth mentioning, there's a lot of information going right now about these gold IRA scams, and that's one of the reasons why I'm working with Noble Gold. 'Cause I know that they're a company that I trust. I really do. I know that even my own mom, literally my own mom, had an hour-long conversation a week and a half ago with Micah, one of the guys from Noble Gold who I interviewed recently, about moving her IRA over into precious metals. And I felt so confident in that. So that's the amount of trust I have in them. So I think a lot of you have also trusted Noble Gold. Thank you for that. If you are wanting to, actually I'll probably pull this up anyway. If you're interested in purchasing precious metals or moving an IRA into precious metals, Noble Gold is fantastic. I trust them. I know the owner, and I know a lot of the team there. Very, very good people. And honestly, I'll probably try to do a finance show this week. If you haven't thought about moving more of your assets into gold out of the banking system, I would highly, highly recommend it. I think that there's some really, really sketchy stuff going on with finance. I think there's going to be some sort of maybe like financial cyber attack, false flag. So anyway, just my own, it's not investment advice, just giving you my thoughts. The other thing is, this coming Saturday, I've got a really good interview coming out. I'm gonna start doing some series with the show, like kind of more higher produced. And the first series that we're gonna be doing is focusing on survivors of MK Ultra, SRA, etc. And so I interviewed a man, maybe it was like late last week, early this week, kind of midweek, named J.R. Sweet. And he runs I'll pull up his website real quick. He runs a website called The Mormon Monarch. This is his website here. And I did over a 2-hour interview with him, J.R. Sweet. And I think we're gonna do 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. So part 1 will be coming out this coming Saturday. And man, maybe this is part of why I've been kind of just feeling the weight of the world. Like, this guy JR is one of the most kind people I've ever interviewed. Like, honestly, like one of the most kind people I've ever interviewed. And hearing his story of what's happened to him since he was a kid, like very, very young. He was at a very young age, he was taken to Disneyland. If you know much about Disneyland and MK Ultra, and what's underground at some of the Disneyland facilities, he was taken there. He was he was part of the hunting games, the most dangerous game, as a child, where he was hunted in the forest with other children. He goes through all this. It's real too. I mean, this is like, you watch the interview and it will stir your soul. He met a lot of very famous people. Dick Cheney being one of them, interestingly enough, not in a good way, but his interview comes out this Saturday. The part 1 of his interview comes out this Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern. So keep an eye out for that, because that's it's heavy stuff. It's heavy stuff, but we have to look at this stuff. Like trust me, I would much rather be doing, I don't know, I guess as much as I say I'd rather be doing something like movie reviews, I wouldn't like that, because I like real things. The unfortunate thing is that real stuff is kind of dark. So, but it needs to be said. These stories need to be shared. I mean, that's part of what God has chosen for me, right? Is that maybe, I see a lot of comments from people saying that, I'm able to touch on a lot of really dark topics without leaving people feeling hopeless. And so that's part of what I'm going to be doing. I'll be doing a lot more of it, actually. Doing a lot more coverage and deep dives and interviews looking into very, very dark and evil things that are happening in our world, because we have to shine a light on those things. And hopefully I can shine a light on them and not have that light go out, right? And still keep the smile. So, okay, I think I'm done, ready for bed. My voice is kind of getting ready to pack up and go home. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. Just want to remind you, go to buildtheark.com. The community that we're going to be building on this platform is going to be very, very crucial. I'm very excited for it. We'll have all the details about the community will be coming out on Thursday. All the information, how it works. There's a bunch of stuff we're going to have for you. So, make sure you do that. Also, goldwithseth.com if you're looking at precious metals. And just thank you so much for being here with me on this journey. I appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. I hope I can meet a lot more of you in person. That's part of what we're doing with the ARC community, is we're going to be doing some in-person meetups and stuff. And also I'll be doing a lot of much more personal live back and forth. We're doing kind of community meetings where Initially, probably once a week, we'll be on a big call together, almost like a Zoom call, where you can ask me questions and we just talk. It's about building these relationships. That's the one thing that I've just found that's so important, is building relationships. And so I'm looking forward to meeting more of you on the ark. So yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you. Take care. God bless. Have a good night. And I'll see you on the next show. Thank you.